Hello friends, and welcome of you with this new video of our course Flutter app. I apologize for my voice because I've been hit again with the COVID-19. I apologize for if the voice is not clear. First of all, thank you for watching my channel and watching these videos. And if you so choose to support me by subscribing to the channel, and if this video make any benefit to you, I hope that you hit the like button and hit the notification bell so you could get the latest from my videos. Okay, in the previous video we spoke about the providers, the default and change notifier and value providers. In this video I'll show you how and when to use the proxy providers. Now the proxy providers is something that when you have a value in one of the pages and you wish to use the result of this value in this page in another route in another page, and then you do some calculation on the new value, and then the new value in the new page you use it also in another page. So it's like a series of using values from different pages, and you take the result from them and use them in another page, in a new page. Let me show you what that means. If I hit on the proxy provider now, as you can see here, I have made a change notifier provider here where I have a list of countries. This list of countries changing frequently. Now you could use the change notifier provider. In this case there's no problem, but it is not recommended. The best way to use this, if you have, as we have said before when we were talking about the providers, if you have values that changing frequently, it's better to use the proxy provider. So as you can see here, I'm here using the proxy provider. Now there are multiple proxy providers types, the proxy provider 0 and the proxy providers. So we need to know when we can use each one of them. So as you can see here, I have the same list in here, but here I'm applying the proxy provider and the value is changing. Now I'm taking this value, which happens to be in this page, and I'm creating another proxy provider which takes this value, show it in here, and add it to it another thing to be shown in another page, so supposedly in another page, although I'm showing them all in one page just to show the case, prove the case. So here I'm taking the value from this proxy provider, add to it another value, and then show them together in another page. Then I have applied another proxy provider. This proxy provider takes the value from this proxy provider and add to it another value and also show them in another page. So this is the sequence of, or the use case of the proxy provider, where you can use and make benefit of the proxy providers in different pages of your application, where each route, each page can show a different values. And when you add another values to them, you can take the old values from the proxy and add to them some values and show them in another page, as you can see in here. Again, if you have values that changing frequently, it is not recommended to use the change notifier provider. It is always to use the proxy provider. Okay, so the idea is very simple, is that I need to create three providers. One is by countries provider, and then the time zone provider, and then the current time provider, which shows in here. This is the countries provider, this is the time zone provider, which takes this one and apply it in here, and then the current time, which takes the proxy provider, the previous one, and add to it another value, and then show them in a new route, in a new page, or whatever you want in your application. So these are the things. This is the design of it, and how you can apply these proxy providers in your app, in your widget, you create 3 providers, and then you use these providers. For instance, this is country and time. This is the second one. Country and time. I can go with the stateful builder, which will make even my application more responsive, more flexible. So I use the stateful builder, and in here I use the the proxy provider 0 in this case. The proxy provider 0, which takes a string in our case, and then I need to change the values. These values will be taken from a list. This list is changing. This list is changing the name, and that's the need. Why when we use the proxy provider, we use it because the values are changing frequently. So when I use the proxy provider, I need to give it a changing values. Okay, so that's why I'm using the proxy provider in this case. One other thing is that you need to add. So this is the second when we use the country with proxy provider, and there is another one which is country with time. In this case, this is the values. So how to use the stateful provider as well, and then you can add the proxy provider 0 in this case, and use the country name method, this method, and then you can apply it in your proxy provider. Now, one thing you need to know in your application, in your app.dart, you have to add these providers. The change notifier provider, which is this one for our countries, which is this provider, which use the mixing of change notifier. This is the countries provider. And then we, on the second hand, we use a change notifier proxy provider. In this case, we will use the time zone, which is the second one, which is this one. So this one will make use of this provider, So it will take the previous provider, which is the countries provider, and add to it the time provider, and then show them in the second case. The third case is the current time. The current time will take 2 providers. It will take the countries provider and take the time zone provider and add to it, embed it with the current time, and then we will see that we are using the 3 providers, one on top of the other. And that's how you can create the proxy provider, which is a very powerful tool. You can use it in your application, and this will save you a lot of hard coding, a lot of boilerplate coding when you need to use the values that is available in one page, use that value, put it in another page, use the result of that one, also put it in another page. So it is this usefulness of the proxy provider. Again, I apologize for my voice, and I hope if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. And I thank you very much for watching this video, and if you do like it, please hit the like button and do subscribe for support me to come up with more of these videos. In other videos, I will have time to show of things like, we will talk more about the database. We will focus more on the database, because or the back end. So we will talk about how we create a connections pool. That is one of the very important thing which will make your the responsiveness of your data that is being gathered from the your application, from your server, will be much faster, because the pooling is one of the most important thing when you create your database and connect it to your application. Okay, thank you very much again, and have a good day.